when these two guys act like warriors inside that squared circle in that chamber of truth, as I often would refer to it, and as the great Larry Merchant, I believe, once referred to it many years ago, when it's all over, you very, very seldom, if almost never, you do not see those two combatants showing mutual respect. Whether it's hugging each other, shaking hands, embraces, whatever, because they both knew where they went. They both knew what was at risk. They both knew what it took to go to a place that most people will never have the capacity to go to a place where it's dark and you got to bring your own freaking light. And you don't know if you're coming out of there sometimes. And you don't know how far in there you can go until you go. So you see a mutual respect that is unmatched in any other sport, in any other contest, in anything in the world, to be quite honest. And it's rewarding to see it. It is. And I think it's important to see it for all of us, to almost justify that these two men were trying to freaking kill each other before. I think it's almost necessary for us to think we're still human. That we're not a Roman gladiator crowd, that's just looking for blood. That we're looking for more than that. We're looking to see two men show us something we have never seen before. Show us how far one can go, how far one can stretch what they thought were limits. It teaches us. It teaches us that, it's not only about, going out there and giving it, the old college try and just, going to the extents that you can go to. But it's almost like it's reminding us in a strange way that we have a responsibility to find out. We always say do your best, but it almost takes it to another place. Do your best, but almost like you should have the curiosity to find out what could be out there for you. What is possible? And you can never find that out until you're willing to go beyond where you've ever gone before. You're willing to take that risk. You're willing to go into, as I often say, that dark place and not stop when it gets dark, but instead keep going. Even when you sometimes can't see where the hell you're going. I know that sounds crazy, but, if those voyagers, if those, explorers many, many years ago didn't keep going out on the ocean, we never would have known that the world's not flat, that you don't fall off. And in some ways, they teach us to be our own little voyagers, to be our own little, discoverers, to discover, how far is too far and what is never too far. They teach us that. They show us that. And sometimes it gets pretty brutal. And again, I think we need to see them embrace the way they often do, almost always do. We need to see them embrace to know that we're still human, to know that there's a reason why we watch this. It's not just about somebody being knocked into their unconscious state. That it's about things that are more valid than that, more meaningful, more important than that. And that they show us that by embracing and giving that respect to each other. So I think that a lot of people were upset by that. And I heard that there was a lot of people, and you were upset about it. But for me, I want to give a couple, not excuses for it, but I want to point out a couple things that haven't been pointed out about that. The way that Wilder acted afterwards, or didn't act afterwards, that did not bode well with everybody. First of all, he's concussed. You don't need a doctor to tell you that he was concussed. Believe me. He was concussed. So to have to do that immediately afterwards when you're concussed, that is part of the scenario. I'm not making an excuse for him. But the other thing is that it's how many people out there, we always want to see a gracious, guy in defeat. But was Michael Jordan a great loser? I don't know that he was. I don't think he was too good a loser.
That's a very good point.
I think that sometimes you don't want to see a good loser. I mean, I know you want to see gentlemanly behavior. You want to see the things I just talked about. You want to see that. But do you always want to see... are there people out there that would say that Joshua was much too good a loser when he lost to Ruiz and when he lost
100%.
to Usyk?
100%.
Yeah.
Almost didn't seem upset enough.
He was too gracious. I would have liked to see a little less of that. He's a gentleman. I applaud him for that. I get it. Everyone has different personalities and what they think are their responsibilities in behavior. I get it. But I'd almost like to see a little bit of a poor loser after those fights with Joshua. I'd feel a little bit better about his future if I saw that. And I didn't see that. I think that's part of what, I'm making no excuses, that's part of what you see. Wilder's not a good loser.
Nope.
I mean, as part of it, he's arrogant. Listen, I don't think I started this conversation early. I don't think he has the greatest personality in the world, but there might be one person out there on the planet that thinks I don't have a great personality. There might be. I'm not sure. So, so I understand. But even with that, some guys hate losing. And some guys, it's their protective system. It's everything to not acknowledge that they could lose. That's part of what allows them to win. That's part of what allows them to march to the drummer that they have to march to face the scary things they have to face. And there's scary things for a fighter to face. Very scary things. And you got to find a way to do that without taking a drink of alcohol and, without taking something that's unnatural. You have to be able to find something inside yourself to face those things. And part of what he finds is his disdain for losing. His inability to admit somebody's better than him. That works for him. I think that's part of it. Part of it is just his makeup, his personality, that some people might hate. But again, making no excuses, I would have liked to see a handshake. I would have liked to see an acknowledgement back to Wilder that, hey, we did something special, brother. And you were great. I was great. We just taught a lot of people out there how to behave in the most difficult situation, and one of the most difficult situation in life, when you're threatened, when you gotta find a way that's beyond physical. Because what they found was beyond physical. What he did, what Wilder was doing when he was gassed, it was beyond physical. What Fury did after he got dropped twice was beyond physical. It was the willingness to go to a place that, well, to a place you didn't even know existed. Almost like stepping out in space, not knowing if you're going to float away. Really. Not knowing if you're going to float away and be gone. And a willingness to take that step. And I would have liked to see, like everyone else, to say, hey, we took that step, brother. And you know what? We just set a standard. We just set a sort of tablet for people to maybe take their step. To take their step. When they're in a similar situation of doubt, of fear, of threat, of danger. So, yeah, I would have liked to see that. But as I said, look, we saw what I got to be fair, as I always try to be. I'm not just giving an excuse to him. I'm putting it out there what he did and didn't do. Wilder. We also didn't see what we liked when we saw McGregor and Poirier. Let's be honest. I know McGregor had a broken leg. I get it. So you can maybe make that excuse that he had a broken leg. He wants to keep his image up. The adrenaline was flowing.
You could make that excuse, but you would be doing just that, making excuses.
Yes.
There was no excuse for his behavior.
But at the end of the day, we would have liked to see much better behavior. We would have liked to see him at least acknowledge that, hey, brother, we went out there and we do what we do. We put it all on the line, and God bless. And of course, our friend Dustin Poirier took the high road after some terrible things, and that's where it was different. Wilder didn't go down that road at all, but after some disgrace, terrible things that was said by McGregor. What does our friend Dustin Poirier do? He's got a choice. He could go back with the same stuff, but no. He's got enough character, enough grace, and enough class, if you will. What does he say? He says, get home safe. I get home safe to your family. I hope he gets home safe. And what did Fury, to his credit, say? I pray for him.
Same thing.
I pray for him. And again, Wilder wasn't saying these derogatory, nasty things. He just wouldn't acknowledge his handshake. He wouldn't give back what was being offered to him in that way. And that bothered a lot of people. And, Wilder has a certain personality that not everyone's going to like. And you know what? Who knows what's truly behind it? I know he has a great story that I do like. He's got a great story of a disabled daughter that he takes care of. That he actually started boxing at about 19, 20. He started late. Part of it was the goal was to be able to take care of and provide for her. I like that story. That person's there. You can't be that and then not be that. On some level, in there. It's got to be in there somewhere. A connection. If you're that, then you have to be better than what you project sometimes in a way that people might look at you and say, I don't like that guy. There has to be a connection to that.